A blessed Resurrection Day to everyone. All Christian churches around the world celebrated yesterday the resurrection of our Lord Jesus from the dead. I am surprised that even now there are still people who do not believe that Jesus Christ was resurrected from the dead. But if you read the Gospel, you would find clear evidence of the resurrection. There are three important pieces of material evidence that point to the resurrection of Jesus. We find these in the Gospel according to John. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." So Peter and the other disciples started for the tomb. Both were running, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent over and looked in at the strips of linen lying there, but did not go in. Then Simon Peter came along behind him and went straight into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as a cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head. The cloth was still lying in its place, separate from the linen. The first piece of evidence here is a displaced stone. The second piece of evidence is the empty tomb. The third piece of evidence is a set of linen wrappings and a piece of cloth. These linen wrappings were wrapped around the body of Jesus after his crucifixion, and as part of the burial practices of the time, the wrappings were soaked in spice. But now the body was no longer there. Only the strips of linen and the piece of cloth used to wrap Jesus' head remained. By this time, the spices would have been dry and the linen would have been rigid already, like an empty shell, lying on top of a stone slab where Jesus was laid. The first person to see this strange mystery was Mary Magdalene, and her first impression was that the body of Jesus was stolen. Peter and the other disciple, John, had the same reaction. They must have been shocked. But who would have stolen the body? It was in the interest of the Jewish leaders for Jesus to stay dead. They could have easily discredited any claim that Jesus was resurrected. All they had to do was bring out the body. It was also in the interest of the Roman soldiers to keep the tomb sealed. They were under orders to guard the tomb with their lives. To have the stone covering the tomb removed meant the Roman seal was broken and the body of Jesus was stolen under their very noses. This would have meant that the Roman soldiers were sleeping on the job and they would have been severely punished or even executed. No Roman soldier would ever allow that to happen. And so, a displaced stone, an empty tomb, and strips of linen prove this very truth. Jesus had triumphed over death. He is alive. He was resurrected from the dead. And so, just as he promised, someday soon, we who trust in Jesus would be resurrected as well, just like the Lord. And as we rest on the truth of the resurrection of Jesus, let us keep in mind, faith matters too.